Fusion Mobile, quality e-learning experience on the go.
Good afternoon. You are welcome again to Fusion Mobile e-learning program. My name is Michael Okoli-Peter. I'm taking geography. This afternoon we are going to look at GIS and remote sensing. GIS and remote sensing. You know, in our previous classes, both when we're taking SS1 and SS2, I told us that GIS is a new trend, a new topic, a new, discipline, so to say, in geography. And the introduction of GIS and remote sensing in the teaching of geography in secondary schools has given a boost to this subject we call geography. Now, we have defined what GIS is in our SS1 as a process of storing, analyzing, manipulating, processing, and at the end of the day you retrieve this data. What you are doing is what we call GIS. We call it Geographic Information System or Geospatial Information Studies. Now, there is a difference between GIS and remote sensing. What do we mean by remote sensing? Remote sensing is the science of capturing a data or capturing an information without necessarily having a body contact with it. I think all of us, we use a phone camera or camera phone. You can use this camera phone to snap a picture. The object may be as far at about maybe 50 to 100 meters far away from you. Just pick your phone and you project on the object, you snap and you capture the image. What you have done is what we call remote sensing. So when this information are being gathered, are being collated, and be collected and be sourced either from the field, then this information is being transferred into a system where necessary manipulation, analysis, addition and subtraction to produce a defined information. So when we are talking about remote sensing is like capturing a data, bringing a data into a GIS lab, imputing this data into a computer system or GIS machine to process, analyze, and at the end of the day you bring out this information out for the final consumer. So GIS and remote sensing, they go hands in hands. Anywhere you see remote sensing, we talk about GIS, because GIS capture at times raw data, but it is the function of remote sensing capture raw data. Somebody can attach a powerful camera to a drone and send it into the atmosphere. This drone attached with powerful camera can be snapping some features. When these pictures are being retrieved, that is remote sensing. Then how do you analyze these pictures? How do you interpret these pictures? How do these pictures give a meaning to the final consumer? It is the work of GIS to manipulate, to analyze, to evaluate, and at the end of the day produce this for final consumption. So that is GIS and remote sensing for you. So when we are talking about divination of remote sensing, we say that is the act, the science of capturing a data without necessarily having a contact, a body contact with it. We have camera today. The technology has made it so simple that your phone can be used as a camera to snap any type of pictures at all, any type of object, any type of image you want to capture. You can capture it using your own phone, no matter the distance you are from that object. What you are doing is what we call remote sensing. Now, we have known the definition of remote sensing and also GIS. Then what are the differences between GIS and remote sensing? Differences between GIS and remote sensing. Just from the definition, you can see that GIS cannot get data on its own. It depends on what? On the data that comes from what? From remote sensing. Before GIS can, manipulate, analyze, and interpret this data to become, a good information for the final consumption. Like the act of map making, that is GIS. But GIS cannot, be in isolation without getting an information from remote sensing, without getting an information from a camera. And this camera snap photograph, bring this pictures into the GIS lab. Then GIS give it a meaning, give those pictures, those features snapped by cameras. It can be digital camera, it can be ordinary, this common camera that we use. Once we use that to get information, what we are doing is remote sensing. When we manipulate, analyze, and interpret that information to give a meaning and finally bring out a data, what we are doing is GIS. And as I said, that you cannot understand GIS very well if you are not computer literate. If you are not computer literate, because most of the analysis, most of the manipulation, most of the interpretation, adding and subtracting that will give data a meaning is done through a computer system. So all those computer components are what we call the component of GIS. GIS is divided into two. We have the hardwares, we have the softwares, we have the human wares, and also we have the methods. So, and the hardwares are purely, the computer, the monitor, the CPU, central processing unit, the screen, the mouse, the keyboard. These are what? These are the hardwares. So if you are not computer literate, it will be very hard for you to know what GIS is. Now let's look at the application of GIS. Application of GIS. Number one, we have various ways we can apply GIS. Various. That is why the introduction of GIS in geography has given geography a kind of a life subject, where after graduating, if you are well tutored in GIS, you can use it to make money for yourself. How can we apply GIS? Where is GIS necessary? In all, even in the health sector, we use geographic information system. In business management, GIS can be applied. The successful business endeavor depends on what? Depends on the location. The planning and execution of this is by the help of geographic information system. Talk about transport network. Today, many countries, they do not send policemen to monitor traffic. Some of the traffics are monitored by robots, and somebody is somewhere controlling those robots as if they are human beings. This is the work of GIS. So it's for transport. Even there are some powerful handset now that you can have the map of the state you are walking inside the camera. So before you go out in the morning, the route you want to go, you can check the traffic flow through your phone before you get out, so that if that route is, the traffic is congested, you may avoid that route. It will save you a lot of time. That is the application of GIS for you. When we talk about agriculture, Also, GIS has a role to play. The mapping of farms is the work of GIS. We talk about the mapping of soil condition is the work of GIS, and even siting of agricultural projects. All these are done by the help of GIS. Then we talk about education. That is why we are teaching GIS in secondary school and also in tertiary institutions. So these are the applications of GIS. Also in military operation, I've been saying this, GIS is very, very important. Before a troop can go on operation, what they normally do, they will go there and capture the information through powerful camera. What are they doing? Remote sensing. And once they capture the area view of that environment, they bring that picture into the lab to analyze. Analysis of that picture or the features they capture through the camera, that is remote sensing, is also known as a GIS, and so on and so forth. Now let's look at, finally, on this topic, the problems of GIS. What are the problems? What are the problems of GIS? Let's look at it. There are very few. As good as GIS is, we have some problems that GIS is facing today, both in the office where it's supposed to be applied, and also in our educational institution where it's supposed to be taught. Number one, GIS equipment are very expensive. So some organizations, even higher institutions, may not have enough money to buy GIS equipment. When we are talking about GPS, geographic information position system, when we are talking about a digitizer, when we are talking about, you know, a digitizer, that is the machine that produce map, the price is very costly. So some institutions, some organizations cannot get this equipment. It's one of the problem. Then number two is inadequate manpower to handle GIS in our institutions of learning. Not many geography teachers can teach GIS effectively to the understanding of their students. Therefore, even when they see the topic of GIS, many teachers, they run away from it because, number one, they are not properly taught about GIS, and if you don't have the knowledge of any topic, you cannot deliver it properly. Then GIS equipment also run on electricity. GIS equipment runs on electricity, and because of poor power supply in Nigeria today, even if you have this equipment, if there is no electricity, they cannot function effectively. And there is also general problem of poor maintenance. As costly as GIS equipment are, some of them, even when the government or an institution try their best to provide, poor maintenance culture, which has become a bane of most of our people entrusted to keep this equipment, they will manhandle it, and before you know, they will run out of efficiency. So these are the problems of what? Of GIS.